everybody. Welcome back to another episode of The Night Raven. This is actually part 2 of a 2-part episode, or a 2-part recording, I should say, where in the first episode we talked about what is a fragmented soul. How do you recognize what a fragmented soul is? What causes a fragmented soul? What is a soul? So we kind of went over all of that. And so now that we established and actually answered some of those questions, I want to get into, well, once you figure this out and your awareness is that you have a fragmented soul, what can you do about it? So I guess since Jim is the all-knowing shaman and hopefully has all the answers, Jim, can you tell us what you can do? What's a soul retrieval session or a soul retrieval ceremony or whatever you want to call it?
Okay. Yeah. So, there's a sort of a common school of thought out there in the, on Google, because Google knows everything.
Sure.
About, if you're missing a piece of soul, then you would have a shamanic practitioner or some go find that piece of soul and bring it back and return it to you. I guess fundamentally that works, but so, hypothetically, a little piece of your soul, right, runs away because of some condition it didn't like or whatever, right? It would be like if your child ran away and then like you went and got your child and brought him back and the conditions in the home didn't change, they're going to run away again.
Okay. So what you're saying is, or you're confirming basically that the same piece can like break away again if you don't heal it, if you don't get it fixed.
Right. So, I would say whatever the conditions were that caused you to lose that in the first place, you should probably address that, right? Before you even think, do the groundwork.
Yes.
Right. Get the foundation right before you even worry about.
So you have to identify what that is first.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I think, if you're at the point where you feel like something's missing, and so a lot of people that have a fragmented soul or a missing piece, like they feel like something's missing, like they're missing something.
Yes. Like you're missing a piece of yourself.
Yeah. And you see a lot because people, they have a great big hole in them somewhere and then they throw things into it. Bad decisions, retail therapy, whatever,
Yes. Yes, that's true.
They
like Band-Aids, short-term, Band-Aids.
Right. So they're throwing things in there to try to fill this hole up, and it's a never-ending pit. And then, but they'll feel like something's missing. And then, it's, to reclaim that piece, for me in my healing sessions, I've seen it before I've seen it as a little bit of color, like just a little scrap of paper or cloth, and it's a certain color. I've seen it as, maybe that individual at a different stage of their life, like as a 7 or 8 year old kid or and so for me, that's how I know that there's something to look at, I don't know.
So you identify what happened, why the soul broke off, and then you go and find it, and you it's like a puzzle. Do you think?
Yeah.
You put it back in, you put it back together, I guess.
Yeah, and so for me, like if I see it, I'll sort of have this knowing about like a certain age or whatever, and then I can ask the client, so what happened at 9 or 10 years old? Something happened at 9 or 10 years old, or something we need to look at here, and then I can get to it from there. But yeah, I think the underlying causes of what caused that should go away, right? And so you need to sort of rectify that. And then if it's something, maybe it was a too much thing they couldn't process, it's unfortunate, but you'll probably have to help them walk through it, or where the individual will have to walk back through that and process it, because it's a compartmentalization, right? It's like psychologically compartmentalizing something. So you take an emotion or a happening and you put it away somewhere because it's too much to deal with.
Yeah.
So that's the same thing the spirit's doing with that little piece of the soul. It's too much to deal with, so they put it away. That'll need to be worked through.
So, and if something like that happens during childhood or early on, do you think it's called maybe do you think we need more? It's kind of weird to ask, but do you think that it takes more than one medicine? I shouldn't say medicine, more than one practitioner to maybe one to identify, and then you do a shamanic healing, and then maybe you need somebody who does inner child work, to heal that. Do you think you need more than one person to help you through something like this to put yourself back together?
Yeah, I think all legitimate, long-lasting healing has to focus on the spirit, the mind, and the body.
Okay.
I think if we don't tie these three things in, then we're only, we can still make progress.
Yes.
But I don't think we're going to get closed on it, right?
It will not stick. You don't think?
Or it'll get to the point, and I don't know. I mean, maybe that's not the. I think that's what it takes, So maybe it's a lifetime thing. Maybe in this lifetime you psychologically heal something. Maybe what we talked about earlier is you do carry a thing into the next life. Maybe one lifetime psychologically healing. Maybe the next one is spiritually healing. I don't know. But yes, no,
Yeah.
I absolutely think because I myself have started doing body work because our bodies sort of hold trauma and energy in places, and so I talked about spirit, mind, body enough that I'm actually starting to follow through on that now.
Yes. Usually, yeah.
I've been saying it for years, and like most healers, I've been neglecting it. So,
but you know why? Yeah. I had to learn that too. A lot of times during readings, I see a pattern, especially when I do a fair, because you have so many people come to you during the day that I see a pattern, And I talked to Grace about that. You know who Grace is. And because I said to her, do you see a pattern sometimes, when you do one reading after another? And she's like, yes. And that the reason for that is when you have a pattern that's for spirit wants you to understand that this is something you need to heal in yourself as well. That's why you attract this pattern, right? So when you say that, for years you've been talking about that, it's probably because spirit wanted you to do that for yourself as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. And so, I kind of feel like a hypocrite because I talk about
I know, right?
being mirrors for each other, right? And then I was like, oh yeah, that's I should probably take my own advice on that, right?
Yeah.
So here we are.
I talk to people about meditation and all kinds of things, and I'm like, maybe I should start doing that as well. It's like, yep,
yeah,
that's what it is.
Yeah, the people, everything we do, we're doing for ourselves. Everything we do for somebody else, we're actually doing for ourselves because for lots of reasons, we're connected that way. We're working through mirrors.
So I think every practitioner is different, of course. And if somebody were to come to you and say, hey, I know I have a fragmented soul. I know what it is. Is there anything you can do to help me get this back? Is there something that you can help them do? I mean, what's your method or what's your session look like if you were to help somebody?
So I think with that evolution in the last episode that we talked about the evolution of consciousness, I don't think that they necessarily need a practitioner to help them. But so I mean, I'm happy to help, but I think it's possible to call back those little bits and pieces of your soul on your own, right?
Okay.
Provided that you've done the groundwork and you've done some work, and just it's not a one and done, right? Like you're not going to call back soul for soul retrieval and all of a sudden everything is better. You got to put the work in.
Yeah.
So, and for me, it's not a there's not a 20-minute ritual or ceremony we're going to do that. Some of my clients I work on 3 or 4 times, So we'll kind of set that goal and we get a little bit here and a little bit here, and it's a cumulative effect. I don't really, soul retrieval's that's a big deal.
It's
I
a
don't,
process.
yeah, it
Mm-hmm.
is, and there's a lot of steps that have to happen in that. And then once you get that little piece of soul back, there's a lot of stuff you have to do to kind of nurture that.
Mm-hmm.
It's like if like your skin, right? So you've done a little bit of surgery, you've had a skin graft, and now you need to take care of it while it heals. Uh, you know,
Yeah.
it's a I don't know.
It's a step-by-step process.
Yes, I think so. I think so. I mean, that's been my experience with it. But
Okay.
I also really think that every little bit of spiritual healing I do, in some ways, is a part of a soul retrieval, right?
Right.
Because it's all a step. I mean, I think we're just picking different words, right? So
Yes.
we call a soul retrieval is to put a missing piece in, for spiritual healing, to heal the wound, or I mean, I really
Heal
think
the triggers.
I think it's
Yeah.
I think it's just different words around the same thing, right?
Yeah. It boils down to be the same basic,
Yeah,
thing, I guess.
it's just the language we're going to use to describe it, but I think
Mm-hmm.
ultimately it's all about uh, creating that unified spirit, or that unified soul body to our spirit, our physical body. It's all about holding.
Mm-hmm.
I say holding instead of healing, but I mean, to me, that's what I think healing is. It's making something whole. So
Correct. Absolutely correct. But you would be willing to work with a client to help them get
I
a
would,
piece back. Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, I know the answer should be self-explanatory to the next question, but um, what does somebody's role, or what's the role of somebody's willingness to heal? Does it play a part in it?
Oh, absolutely. It's our consciousness is creating the reality around us, and it's very unique to us. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and we all sort of create from that lens of our own consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
So, if somebody were to come to me and ask for some help on a soul retrieval, let's say, uh, and in talking with them, I found that they had created this image of themselves that was very broken, or something wrong with them, or or needing help, or creating themselves in a victim mentality. Um, I probably would not be interested in doing a soul retrieval with them. The reason being, as
Uh-huh.
we talked about before, that would indicate to me that they've not done the groundwork
Gotcha.
to recall that little piece of soul. You know,
Mm-hmm.
whereas if they were, in talking with them, I would see that they're creating themselves in an empowered role. Like, hey, I'm generally happy, but there's one little sticking point here that I need some help to get past. Then that's something I can help them with.
Right.
Um, because that's the intention they're setting, and that's the energy they bring to it. Because like
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
this episode, healers don't really heal.
Mm-hmm.
Like
That's true.
I'm not working a miracle on my client. If my client's
Yes.
ready,
Yes.
I can kind of set a sacred container for that healing to happen and help them.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's a universal truth. Nobody's coming to save you, and you got to put in the work, right?
Agreed.
And
Yes, absolutely.
those are the only two universal truths I found to date. I used to have more, and then I figured out they weren't universal. So, but
Interesting. Um, I mean, I believe like in spirit guides and higher consciousness and like angels or spiritual beings that are always around us, that are like in the ether or in our spirit world. When we do a soul retrieval, are there any guardians or spirit guides that we can ask to assist us in that? Or do you think it's just like for our own soul to kind of heal?
um, so I do believe in helpers and allies. Like I
Mm-hmm.
have some totems I work with. I believe everybody has some totems that they work with, right?
Sure.
But for me, part of how we create ourselves in that empowerment is where do we see ourselves, And so for years, I've seen people kind of look at angels as like that's the paramount thing, right?
Yeah.
And in doing so, I believe, or spirit guides. So you look to your spirit, your spirit guide to tell you what you should do next, right? So fundamentally, the problem I have with that is now it's sort of like psychic protection, right?
Mm-hmm.
So fundamentally, you've now created yourself in your consciousness. Now you've created yourself as a less than empowered position, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now you're seeing something as more powerful than you, or you're looking up to something that you should follow, and you've given your power to something else.
I understand.
That's why I think psychic protection is a racket, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because if I go about in daily existence believing I need to be protected, I've now created myself in a vulnerable way,
Mm-hmm.
if that makes sense.
Yes.
So
Yeah. I
if
think
I,
I understand what you're trying to say. Yeah.
right. So if I go about, and there are things that I do that might look like protection, but it's just for my energetic hygiene,
Mm-hmm.
then I've not created myself in a vulnerable way. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So your question was, will your guides help?
Yeah.
They can help. Will your guides do it for you? I don't think so. Um, you know, so
That's just something. Yeah. I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt.
no, that's fine. Go ahead.
That's just something that just kind of came in from spirit. I think it's when you call on someone else, like for example, like your spirit guides or your angels or whatever you have around you or want around you. I think, like you said earlier, you kind of mentioned it real quick. Once again, you give the power away to someone or something else, and then you're asking again something else or someone else to fix you, where it's really up to you to fix yourself and take the responsibility, to work through your wounds and put this back together, right?
Absolutely, yeah. So I think once we recognize our own divinity, right,
Mm-hmm.
we recognize that that whatever's transcendental in us, and we recognize that spirit, we recognize the power of the spirit and the soul, and that it persists. So that's a step towards owning our power. And then I think when you kind of step into that role, then your spirit guides and your angels and whatever totems you have, then now you've aligned with them, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
I think they're here to help you. They're not here to tell you what you should do. So
Mm-hmm.
in the driver's seat, then I think they're all behind the car pushing, right?
Yeah,
And
exactly. Mm-hmm.
and things will fall into place and they'll expedite themselves. But but you can't be drugged. And I think there are a lot of people out there that are expecting to be drugged by those.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if I answered your original question. I think maybe I did.
Yes, you did.
Yes, they could be helpful if the client is in the right mindset to begin with, right?
Right.
Which is
Knowing that they're here to assist, not to do the work for you.
right.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. What happens once we have, or once one piece is returned? What happens? Are we finally whole and perfect, and we can just live happily ever after, or do we have to maintain a certain healing practice or something?
Well, so there's an integration phase for that, right?
Oh,
So,
okay.
so you get the piece back. It's uh, it's sort of like our skin when we have a surgery. It has to knit. So you put the piece back, and then it's been gone for a while. So you sort of have to get used to it being back, right?
Interesting. Yes.
You have to get to know each other again, and you have to let that fully integrate with the rest of your spirit. It's like if we cut our skin and it heals, it'll still be tender. There's a scar there.
Yes. Yes.
It's tender. As time goes on, the scar fades, the tenderness fades. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I think what we see in our physical body, we can expand that to all healing, right?
Yeah.
I think the process of the things knitting and becoming whole works for the soul, the spirit, the mind. I think it's
Mm-hmm.
maybe that's a universal truth.
Yeah. I guess when a doctor tells you after surgery or whatever, just to take it easy for a while and rest and don't do too many things or don't lift heavy things, I guess we could apply that to the soul as well. Just take it easy. And I mean, just because you identified your trigger and you're healing it does not mean you can like run right into it again. You just have to give it time to heal and, you know.
So what I usually tell people, and this is code, because a lot of times I'll do a little bit of soul retrieval, and I don't tell the client.
Yeah.
What I will tell them as they leave, I'm like, so be gentle with yourself for the next month or so. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's okay not to do things,
Mm-hmm.
and that sinks in or not, I don't know. But it's absolutely okay. Sometimes it's okay to eat ice cream and binge watch whatever your favorite show is, right?
Right.
And sometimes it's okay to feel a little bit sorry for yourself, or it's okay to be sad, or sometimes it's perfectly okay not to want to deal with anybody or leave the house.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And if that's what it takes, so after a soul retrieval, I think it's very good to kind of listen to your gut, listen to your intuition. And if you just don't want to do something, then don't do it, because I think, fundamentally, I think our spirit knows before anything else what we really need, right?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
We just have to get very good with our intuition and listen to that. I think that's what intuition is. It's the voice our spirit uses to speak to us. So.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I have a memory right now. I mean, my good friend Indira, you know who that is. We sometimes we've joked about things like, when somebody is really new to spirituality, they think they found the Holy Grail and everything is love and light and it's going to be bliss from here on out. And, it's the absolute opposite. This is when you actually see your wounds. This is when you work through your wounds. This is when you feel the most pain. And we laugh about people, not because we think they're just, I mean, we're not in a cruel way, but it's like, oh my God, they have like no idea what they're in for, right? And when you said, you need to take it easy, a lot of people, I feel like sometimes they say, oh, you need to meditate and you need to get your crystals out to heal and you need to do all of these things. And it's really like, it's whatever you want to do. Like you said, if you want to eat ice cream and binge watch Netflix, this is your healing journey, okay? Whether it has crystals or cards or whatever, it doesn't matter because you or your soul knows what it needs to heal. And if you want to lock yourself away for a weekend and not talk to anybody, turn your phone off, do that, because that's what your soul needs. And so it's the healing process is different for each person. And whatever it is, I feel like don't let anybody tell you you're not doing it right because your soul knows what it needs, right?
Absolutely. I think it was 2011. I was very frustrated with myself because I felt like I wasn't making the progress I needed, or my spiritual journey would get derailed. And I was talking to an elderly gentleman. We were chatting online from California, and very interesting guy. He used to do like visualization with his San Diego Chargers in the '70s and kind of guru stuff. And he reminded me that a spiritual path was not point A to point B.
Mm-hmm.
It had lots of zigs and zags, and sometimes the cold beer was pretty spiritual.
Exactly.
And,
Yes.
And Taco Tuesdays could be very spiritual.
Yep. That's
I
exactly right.
thought about that a lot in the last 14, 15 years, and that's what I found.
That's exactly it. Yes.
Yeah.
It's really the joy that you get out of doing certain things.
Right. Yeah. It's feeling that feeling where you
feeling the joy, yes, and the connection to the essence of who you are, because we're here to have joy.
Yeah, or just feel complete. It's it's like satiated. You're satisfied.
Exactly.
In this moment, you're satisfied. Like you have no desire, no want, no need. You just feel very complete.
Yeah.
That's what that's what healing has been like My puppy playing it too. That's what healing has been like for me is to feel that completeness. You know,
Yeah.
when we talk about feeling like you have a hole inside you,
Yeah.
you know, we all still always have some work to do, right?
Right.
I feel like if I have a hole, it's much smaller now than it used to be. So
That's a good way of saying it. Yes. You know, like you said, or like we talked about, it's you're never done healing. It's a constant, it's a progress, and it's always something you need to work on. So yeah, when you say you have a smaller hole than you had before, that's pretty good.
yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah, I'll take it too.
That's a win.
It's a win. Um, how do you? I mean, how does the Earth respond to a soul loss on a global level? Or do you think she does respond, Mother Gaia, or do you
Uh,
think it's maybe with like a reset at some point, or?
well, I think her and the rest of our relations are definitely feeling the impact, right?
Yeah.
Because I mean, we went from a few 100,000 hunter-gatherer primates to 8 billion industrialized uh, hairless monkeys with
Yeah.
technology, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean the rape and pillage of our natural resources, and for what? The, the best I can see is humanity now is like locusts on a cornfield, right? So we're here to take
Yeah.
all.
Oh, yeah. It's like a
And,
plague.
yeah, and we're putting our efforts into figuring out how to go to another planet and do the same thing over there, right? But, yeah, I think the soul loss and the that sort of fractured stuff within our own self is and then we're creating from that fracture, and so we're creating this um, imperfect environment.
The puppy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can. So
Yeah. I think people say that we're trying so hard to create life on Mars or other planets, but why don't we just like, make it better over here where we're already at? I think that's something that people don't look at. It's like, why go somewhere else? We just can, if we can create life somewhere else, hey, we can fix all of this here,
right, but all our attention's on the outside, right? So
Exactly.
the majority of people think it's outside. It's something outside that's going to fix you. Like we talked before about curing and healing. I mean, they're looking at it from a curing standpoint when they should be looking at it from a healing standpoint.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's going to, the predictions are with global warming and all that Earth is going to get to be unlivable. So there are things we could do. So
Yeah.
so we just throw in the towel and seek to colonize another planet, right? Keeping humanity going.
I mean, if we can do that, if we can figure out how to get to Mars and have a new colony there, I mean, it's probably easier to fix everything here,
Well, and then so there's some speculation that that's how humans wound up here, right?
That's what, yeah, I've heard that, yes.
So it could be that Martian mentality that they screwed up their planet and then came here,
Mm-hmm.
and
To start over.
we're still doing it. So
Yeah.
I mean, maybe that's a overarching lesson for the consciousness, right? It's like, when are we going to figure it out?
When are we going to stop? I think this is a pretty cool planet, though. I mean, even if there was a colony on Mars and somebody would offer it to me, I don't think I would want to go. I mean, this is a pretty bleak planet up there right now.
Yeah.
I mean, here you have beaches and mountains and
Yeah.
lakes and all kinds of cool stuff. I mean, why would I leave? I would like to fix everything here so life can continue here,
I'm very happy being an Earthling.
Yeah, me too. It's like, I'm good with it. So, well, one more thing I want to ask you. What advice would you give someone who knows they've lost themselves but doesn't know where to start?
Oh. Good question. Good question.
Yeah.
I think I think first is going to be the intention, right? To
Okay.
make yourself whole. Like, like you gotta want it. Uh, uh,
Because you already have the awareness, right? So they
right.
started there. So they have that and they know that something happened. They know something's going is up, but and then they're like, so what's next? Where do I go next?
I think it will all start with the intention and sort of how they mentally create themselves and their self image, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've said before, in order to get better, in order to shift things, you have to be sick and tired of being sick and tired, right?
Right.
So I think that applies here,
Mm-hmm.
because I've seen people sort of set in that sick and tired place,
Mm-hmm.
and you know we have free will. You have to will to change. This is where I'm at right
Yeah.
now, but I'm going to change it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
You have
then
to want the help, right?
yeah, and then it opens up all sorts of potentials and possibilities, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I think I think in order to make progress with their healing, or to complete themselves, that's probably the first place to start. Like you have to want it, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have not only do you have to want it because a lot of people want it, but you have to be committed to doing what you have to do
Okay.
to get it.
Committed to do the work.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Make that
Mm-hmm.
sort of commitment, and then I think all things are possible. And I can't say because everybody's different, right?
Right.
It it might be spirit, mind, body, right?
Mm-hmm.
It might be that they need to see a professional for some psychological things to work through. Uh, it might be that they need to start looking at their own personal health and sort of how they resonate in that, because the body really is a temple for our spirit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm starting to embrace that here in the last year or two. Like, this is just the body temple,
Right.
and if you don't take care of this, then how can you know how can anything else come in alignment if you don't take care of the temple? Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so that's sort of that sacred aspect for the body, and then your spirit. I don't know. Like I said, some people lead a very complete life without giving much thought to spirit.
True.
I don't think they necessarily have to give a thought to spirit to lead a very complete life, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think people are spirits, and that's kind of from where you came, and that's where you're going to return. And do you have to have that memory here on Earth? I don't think you necessarily do. I think it's going to work out how it works out anyway, right? So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, a lot of times I can only go from when I do readings for my clients because that's usually what I go off of. But I have those questions from people. It's like, so where do I start? How do I do all that? And I'm really new to this, and where do I go next? And there's a lot of things that I cannot help them with, but I always try to find somebody who can get them started at least, and then maybe hand them off to somebody else who then puts another layer of healing on top of that. So I really feel like there isn't one person that can fix you. I think you really need different people and different perspectives and different experiences. And everybody has a different part of the wisdom of the whole of source, or different angle, I guess, how they look at and where they heal from. And so I really feel like you need to see more than just one person and to be whole again.
yeah. So I read something some years ago that said you can get. It was talking about healing. It said you can get 90% of the way by yourself, but you have to trust somebody for the last 10%.
Yeah.
Uh, and I thought it was interesting, and I didn't really give much thought to it. And then, some years later, I found that to be the case for myself. I mean, I could get to a certain point, but then like I needed help from somebody else to get the rest of it.
Mm-hmm.
Along with that, I think what everybody should work on cultivating, right, is sort of that relationship and that dialogue with their spirit or intuition, right? You know, I think learn to follow your gut instinct, and I'll just call it gut instinct because everybody understands what that is, but and everybody agree that they have that. But if you talk about intuition being the voice of spirit, well, I'm not intuitive. No, but you have a gut instinct, and it's the same thing, right?
Exactly.
Because everybody has that, and
Mm-hmm.
so I mean, for me, that was very useful for me early on, is sort of to develop that dialogue and that relationship,
Mm-hmm.
and then I've sort of used that as a litmus paper that I measure things against.
Mm-hmm.
That's sort of, you know, my intuition is sort of my internal sensibility, and then that's what, if somebody's telling me a thing, and then I, you know, kind of intuitively ask myself what I think of it, and then some things fit and some things don't, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think if somebody can sort of build that dialogue with their spirit, uh, spirit's guided me almost all the way, right? So um, I think your spirit will definitely guide you in your healing process, and kind of point the way for what you need next. And I'm sure you understand that, being very
Yes.
intuitive yourself. So.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Have you ever noticed, and that this is something I just now realized, because you said something about not everybody heals. Some people are perfectly fine going through life and they just like never do a thing. But I just now realized that most people who require healing or looking for healing and are willing to do the work, they become healers themselves. Have you ever noticed that?
Um, yeah, yeah, I have. And then there's a lot of the wounded healers, right?
Yeah.
That you know, they're healing issues in other people while they have that same issue themselves, right? So you know,
Yeah.
it takes a little while to figure out the depth of their mirror, but
That kind of just popped into my mind. It's like most people that I know who either came to me and said, you know, oh, I really, really feel like I need to heal. They went off and did some Reiki training, or they went off and did some, um, took some classes on being a medium, or they took one of my classes to become an Akashic record reader or something. And I'm like, that is really wild. You know, a lot of people who actually went through with the healing and did the work, they actually became healers or readers themselves. So I
well,
wonder if that's part of the calling.
it could be. I mean, because you know, until you do it in yourself, how can you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What's the qualification, right? Maybe that's
Hmm. That's true.
because you
That is
know,
true.
I mean, for myself, I sort of had that expectation, right? Like if I go
Hmm.
see the healer, then I want to see that they've done their work, you
Right.
know. Because you know, I mean that's just me. I would question like how efficient they can be if they haven't done it themselves, and how,
Yeah, you're right. That is very true.
sorry about that.
Oh, that's okay. We love dogs.
Um,
Yeah, that's a lot to say. It's a lot to do. It's a lot of work to do. Um, but yeah, is there anything else you would like to kind of say to the audience or the viewers about soul retrieval? Is there anything else you would like to, some parting wisdom or parting words before we go?
um, yeah, I don't know. It's not it's you know, it's not a destination event, right? So
Mm-hmm.
it's never going to be a one and done. It's a lifetime experience. So
Yeah.
um, I would say to you know whatever progress you think you're making or not making, be very patient with yourself because
Yeah.
uh, Rome wasn't built in a day, you know,
That's true. That's very true.
and it never really stops. So it
Yeah.
keeps getting deeper and deeper and richer and richer.
Yeah. But for anybody out there listening, you know, you're not alone. most people have triggers and we all go through something, but it's important to find your community or your people, your tribe, whatever you want to call it. And Jim's email is here on the bottom. If he can't help you, I'm sure he knows somebody who can, but he can get you started. If you never had a healing session with him, I would definitely try it out. He's one of the best. He's really amazing. So that's really it as far as like soul retrievals and fragmented souls. And make sure to tune in again next week with a different episode. So everybody have a good evening, and we'll see you on the other side.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.